Good evening, students. I am Mahendra from MLZS School, Jhansi. I am here once again in front of you all. I hope you must have understood the first chapter of your book, First Light, that is the letter to God. Children, that was just an outline of the chapter. Once when the school starts, once again we will be doing the chapters in detail. But this classes we are doing just to engage you in these holidays, so that you should get the outline of the chapter and you should remember the chapter. Okay, so today we are going to begin first chapter from the second book, that is Footprints Without Feet. Class 10th, Footprints Without Feet. And we will be doing chapter 1 from that book, that is Triumph of Surgery. Triumph means, children, victory. Triumph means victory, Vijay. Surgery. So there is a description of a surgery in this chapter, though the surgery never takes place, but still the name of the chapter is Triumph of Surgery. Okay, so the main characters of this chapter are James Herriot. James Herriot was a veterinary surgeon. In short, we can call him, he was a vet, V-E-T. He is quite capable and wise individual. Okay. He is an animal lover and a capable guardian. Since he was a veterinary doctor, definitely he has to be an animal lover. Second main important character is Mrs. Pumphrey. Pumphrey, a wealthy single woman. She is a wealthy single woman. She is much attached to her dog. The name of the dog is Tricky. Tricky. She is very loving but weak at heart. Okay. And the third and the last important character of this chapter is Tricky, the dog, the pet. Whose pet was it? Mrs. Pumphrey. She was a very rich and wealthy woman. And he was a lazy and fat dog who loves food. That means to say the dog was very greedy. He is very fond of his owner. He turns out to be energetic and lively after recovering from illness. So we'll begin with the summary of the chapter, children. So it happens that once James Herriot was driving on the road and he sees Mrs. Pumphrey. She was taking her dog for a walk. So he looks to the dog and she had a talk with Mrs. Pumphrey, stops a little bit over there and had a talk with Mrs. Pumphrey that your dog is not looking well. He's not happy and he's not moving fast and he's looking dull. He's not active and he's becoming fat day by day. So what are the reasons? So she's saying, I'm keeping on the dog on a diet and I'm not giving him much food to eat, only at times, apart from the basic diet, 3 times she is giving. Apart from that, she gives it the cakes and the biscuits and all. And since the gardener is not well, so there is nobody to take the dog for a walk. So only in the evening she comes and brings the dog for a walk. Okay. So here she says that the doctor says to her that he advises Mrs. Pumphrey to put Tricky on a strict diet and make him exercise daily. He tells him that the dog needs to undergo strict diet and he has to do basic exercise. That means for a walk he needs to play with the dog. Then Mrs. Pumphrey continues to bother about the dog. Then the doctor said, she takes the dog home and she thinks about the dog. Okay, now what is going to happen? Will the dog going to survive or not? Then what happens? After a few days, she calls the doctor because the dog Tricky stops eating anything. He stops moving. He stops wagging its tail. He stops playing. It becomes inactive totally. She was very worried because she loves her dog very much, and since she was a wealthy woman, she can pay any amount to save the dog's life. She calls Dr. James Herriot and doctor tells that we have to go for a surgery and you have to keep a dog with me for 15 days, a fortnight. So the dog was taken by the doctor. So when the doctor takes the dog, all the different types of coats which the dog used to put on, the morning coat, the afternoon, and all the beds on which the dog used to sleep, and all the bowls in which the dog used to have this breakfast, lunch, and supper. They were sent to the doctor's house. Mrs. Pumphrey started crying, and all the helpers of the house started crying. But doctor took the dog over there. There were some other dogs, some greyhounds, some other breed of dogs were also there in the doctor's house. So the dog, after looking those dogs for 1 or 2 days, that these dogs are playing very well and they are running here and there and they are enjoying the life over here. So for 1 or 2 days, Tricky was inactive, and from the 3rd day he started eating, he started playing with those dogs and becomes active, becomes energetic, and the doctor puts the dog on the strict diet. Meanwhile, Mrs. Pumphrey was very much worried about the health of his dog, so she starts sending some tray of eggs, some wine, some brandy, so that the blood circulation of the dog, or you can say she starts sending, I'll tell you, she starts to send eggs, wine, brandy for Tricky to enrich his blood and improve his health. To improve his health, she started sending, which the doctor and his helper enjoys a lot. He keeps the dog on a strict diet, and automatically the dog becomes well. He recovers from his illness. And after 15 days, Mrs. Pumphrey comes and thanks the doctor, and she started, tears come to her eyes, she started crying in front of the doctor that thank you very much for saving my dog's life. Okay children, I think you must have understood the story. It was just an outline of the story. You need to read the story. So from the internet you can download the NCERT folder and you can read the story from there. If you have any doubts, then you can leave it on the other app. Okay, thank you children. Have a good day.